Going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no microphone.
You got the owl. Well, good morning. So as far as people online, do we have everybody, Angela?
There's a 2901 number ending in 2901.
Phone number ending in 2901. If you can unmute yourself and let us know who you are for the meeting. Phone number in 2901. If you could please unmute yourself so we have you for the minutes.
Gosh, can they type it in the comments section? Oh, yeah, duh.
Okay. Well, we'll move ahead with the meeting. I have is approval of today's agenda.
Make a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is approval of the minutes of 8/5/2020 and 8/10/2020.
Lance, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes from August 5th, 2020 and August 10th, 2020 as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. We have a name for that phone number now, I believe. Next is approval of claims for payment of 8/19/2020.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims for payment for August 19th, 2020.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now we have utility permits.
Didn't have any.
No utility permits, secondary roads.
We're only waiting on a company to move in to pour the approaches on the Gifford Bridge and then guardrail, then that should be. Real updates. Otherwise, we got trees in the ditch still need cleaned up, but we've kind of been waiting until it's all done.
Final plans for FF40.
Yes.
One is my one where I can blame the DOT because this is the one by Net Sweeney's. We already approved it and the parent number was 63. We thought that was weird because they usually run in order. Well, they decided that, yeah, they want to switch it. So already approved these plans once. It's just a different page. That's all it is.
All right.
Okay, well, I can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the final bridge plans for BRS-SWAP-CO42 Para 106-FF-42 Bridge 12015, the replacement.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I think we covered that. Any other discussion? No others? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is approval plans for bridge replacement on M Avenue.
Yep. So this is our one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. A couple miles south of landfill on M. More than anybody. So this is our fun one where we have the mussels that we're going to have to pay somebody to relocate our mussels. So I think they said they're going to come in October and move them. because apparently they don't move during the winter. I said, okay, I'm not a mussel expert. So yeah, it's about the exact same bridge, just on a different road as the other one. So
Okay.
any other questions you guys got, I'd answer them.
Nope. I could ask for approval on that one.
Okay,
Motion.
Lance, I'd make a motion to approve the final plans for BROS-SWAP-CO42 sub 102 SE 42 Bridge 11,009.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. I have 906, so for my 905, we have final consideration and adoption of the amendment of Article 23
29.
of Ordinance number 29.
All right. Sorry.
And we have had a request to have some speak, and there, it's been brought to my attention this morning that someone representing RWE would like to address the board prior to talking about the action on the final consideration. The time for the public hearing and public input has passed, and it is now time for the board to take action on the final consideration of the proposed amendment to the ordinance. Unless you or BJ would like them to speak, it's up to you. I'll let them speak.
Well, I would agree. We've already held our public hearings. So I guess I don't believe there's any further information that I need at this point.
Okay,
I
BJ?
concur with Renee.
Okay. Well, then, we are at the final consideration and adoption of the amendment of Article 23 of Ordinance number 29 with a resolution following, or resolutions for Region 6, I'm sorry.
Lance,
Entertain-
I would make a motion to approve the final consideration and adoption of amendment to Article 23 of Ordinance 29.
It's been moved
I'll second it.
and seconded. Any discussion?
Lance? Could the motion be amended to also direct the auditor to publish notice as soon as possible? And the effective date would be the date of publication.
Did you hear that, BJ?
I did. Mr. Chair, I'd amend my motion to include directing Hardin County Auditor Laura to publish the notice immediately in the official records of publication.
And
The ordinance would be effective upon publication.
And
And the
the
ordinance-
ordinance would be effective upon Auditor Laura's publication.
Okay, I'll second that.
so it's been moved and seconded to amend that into it. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 Carries. Now the motion itself. All in favor, say aye. Roll call. I want a roll call.
BJ,
Aye.
Renee,
Aye.
Lance,
Aye. Motion carries. And just for the record, you state the entire motion.
BJ's motion was to approve the final consideration and adoption of the amendment to Article 23 of Ordinance 29 and to direct Auditor Laura to publish the notice immediately and that the ordinance be effective upon publication.
Thank you. Next, we have is a resolution to approve the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund Hardin County cash contribution. We have Marty on the phone, if we could let him.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Marty?
Hey, Marty, give me a second. I see a note up there. Our microphone's cutting in and out.
That was a while ago.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marty.
Okay. Yeah. Again, it's good to be with you this morning. Technology is working, so that's a good thing. I guess Hardin County has been a great partner with us over the last 6, 7 years with the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund. Historically, from 2015 through the current time frame, we have spent about $335,000 of state and Hardin County funds for housing trust fund activities across Hardin County. And those basically include preserving existing affordable homes across the county. So at this time, we're requesting funds from Hardin County to continue this effort on into 2021. And to continue this effort, we are requesting about $12,000 of financial assistance in FY 2022 in your budget to continue this activity. That $11,970 of cash assistance helps us leverage about $65,000 of state funds for this activity. Currently, we have 11 households on our waiting list across Hardin County for housing preservation activities. We just finished one job up in New Providence for a family. There was about a $14,000 job. So we have ongoing projects there in the county, and we hope that we can continue this work across Hardin County into the future.
Marty, can you repeat what year did we start doing this, that the $335,000 total has been spent?
Yeah, my data goes back to 2015. But again, the trust fund started prior to 2015, so it was probably back in 2013 that we had a little bit of activity. But I guess 2015 we spent about 43,000, and 2016 was about 96,000. 2017 about 60,000, and 2018 was about 78,000, and 2019 44,000. This year we've been a little slow due to all the national activities going on. So, but hopefully we'll get caught up here later this year.
Thank you.
Can you give us a brief explanation of who qualifies for these? Give a little bit of.
Sure. Yeah, I guess who qualifies is basically owner-occupied households across the county. They can live within city limits or out in the rural areas. They have to be income qualified. So the income limit is about 35 to 40,000 per household. They have to have insurance on the property, and they have to own the house, and they can't contract land owners to qualify. We do periodically some rental projects for any kind of nonprofit agencies, like some of the former Farmers Home Administration rental projects. We've done some projects with roof repairs on those, but those are always 100% payback to the fund. We don't do any private, scattered site kind of rental rehab kind of projects.
Okay, and then where would people apply to get on the list?
They apply to our office here in Marshalltown. We have a simple one-page application that starts the process. That's available on our website at region6resources.org. There's, again, a very simple one-page application to start the process that kind of puts you on our waiting list. And it may be a couple years before we get down to your case file.
Oh, sounds good. And I asked those questions because I know we changed the name recently also. So if
Sure.
anybody had the old name, it just gets us farther with the new one. Well, thank you, Marty. Does
Yeah,
anybody have
thank you.
questions?
Nope,
No.
I was just gonna have Marty explain to our constituency, and I know we have members of the media on today, what the mission of the agency was. I think you did a good job of explaining it. Hopefully, when we get back to having normal meetings, Marty can come in like he used to and give some, more statistics and data and some some case studies of what they've done with the funding. It's a very valuable resource for the community as a whole. So thank you, Marty.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I can ask for a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the resolution to approve the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund for the Hardin County cash contribution of $11,970.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
And just to reiterate, this is for fiscal year 21-22.
Yes. Any other discussion? No more, roll call.
Renee,
Aye.
BJ,
Aye.
Carries. That was an appointment to the Veterans Affairs Commission. Bonnie, who has been on the commission, her term expired June 30th. And we did fill a voided position. Applications were sent out, and it is at the board's wish. Would you want to have applications sent out again, or are we okay with her application that she would like to continue on? One thing I'd like to point out is to keep it gender balanced. She is the only applicant that is a female.
Well, and Bernie did recommend she be appointed, or the rest of the commission recommended that she be reappointed. So I would make a motion to reappoint Bonnie Wiedeker to the Veterans Affairs Commission.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. She has done a great job on there.
Yeah, I agree, Lance. The gender balance is important, but I also believe above the gender balance is the continuity of the operations of that commission. From what I understand, talking to other supervisors, that our commission, the continuity and the mission focused on, veterans affairs is clear, concise, and, we've got a great commission. And I understand that Steve has already become Steve Recker has become a really valuable part of that commission. So I think this is a good appointment.
Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next we have is an application for use of courthouse grounds.
Lance, I'd make a motion to approve the use of courthouse grounds for the Iowa Bible Reading Marathon. The dates of use would be Thursday, September 17th and Friday, September 18th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They've been on the grounds before. We've never had any issues. They'll use the north and east side of the courtyard.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? They have participants between 1 and 100. I think that needs to be limited down to the fact where they can keep enough social distancing. Whether we open it up to the entire courthouse yard or restrict numbers, maybe 100 people could fit in there, no problem, but I believe social distancing should still be put into play here.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with if they need to use the south and the west sides of the courthouse. I would agree with you, Lance. They need to socially distance. So they need the entire courtyard. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
I'd agree.
Do we want to make an amendment to the motion?
We can't, or we can just, I think maybe we ask our facilities manager to follow up with Ms. Nazario and reiterate the importance of the social distancing and the COVID-19 precautions.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next we have is our COVID-19 update. Thomas?
So we're still trudging along at the same, probably about 1 or 2 cases a day. Rocky just put out an email, I haven't sent it out yet, but we did have our first death attributed to COVID death in the county. And then today, schools that were in distribution, the Department of Ed sent out a request to the school superintendents if they wanted PPE for their schools. And so that's being dropped off today. And New Providence, Eldora, New Providence, and Hubbard, Redcliffe, South Hardin, whatever that is, it just says Hubbard on the paper that I have, is being dropped off.
Okay.
Other than that, also the commission approved last night, we have a EMPG supplemental grant that we've applied for, and we're moving forward on putting in more storage in the garage area for the PPE that we're ordering in and that the state has already delivered here for in the fall activities. So we're moving forward. The other is I'd like to defer the rest of that COVID over to Rocky for answers to your questions that you had about numbers and how those numbers are being accounted for.
Okay.
That's out of my,
Before you step down, you talked to me this morning with that PPE. It needs to be air conditioned into the shop and
Yes.
implement some water over there.
yes. So, so we've gotten bids on, and it's not part of, so the air conditioning is, and the water are not part of the EMPG supplemental project. But we will be able to still fund both of those through that, and I can try to change the scope of the grant also. But they want the PPE in a climate controlled, both air conditioned and heated. They found that the PPE, even though it's paper products mostly or plastic, that it lasts longer once it's in climate controlled. So we're getting bids on that, and I'll talk to Jody and get that process started.
And I'll speak with your question. His question to me was, should the county take care of this? It's a county building, or should the emergency management take care of this because it's for them? My answer to him was, let the emergency management take care of it. If they need to air condition the room, I don't have a problem with the emergency management air conditioning, adding air conditioning into the other room. As long as it's not a county expense, it's an emergency management expense. I understand the money's still the same, but it goes through different line items. So I'll leave it up to you guys too. That was my answer to him.
The only thing I know, the building is actually owned by the county.
Yes.
The water, I would think, would be more, and this is strictly my opinion, but I think the water especially would be more a county expense since we do own the building. Air conditioning,
Let me grab the paperwork.
So I guess to answer his question, I want the board to direct me so he has an answer.
So, we're waiting on another bid on the air conditioning. The quote I see here is $5,053.63 from Reliable One. And we're still waiting on the Karsten's bid on the air conditioning. But the water, Jody brought me this and requested that it would go through Reliable One, and the cost to put the water in, which is going to be more for cleaning the garage area and be able to clean vehicles and things like that, is $2,441.33. And that would be, the water is going to help Jody out because he can keep his mowers, and because we're still so in there, even though we're taking the back 20 or 25 feet, the back section of that, and making that the PPE storage, we're still going to maintain trailers in there. We're still going to maintain one of the E-Squad trucks in there. And Jody's still going to maintain his lawn equipment in there, both the snowplow, the mower, tractor, cab, all that stuff.
We got voting equipment in there as well too.
I'm sorry?
Voting equipment, voting trailer.
That's the one in the
Yeah.
back. Oh,
The
voting
trailer got,
yes.
the voting trailer got moved because we just didn't have room with
Okay.
all the PPE. So the voting trailer is moved, and then we're still considering whether the shelter trailer will be able to stay inside, but I think it will. But we wanted to make sure that Jody still had storage in there for his lawn equipment for the facilities, because he takes care of that building, he takes care of the driveway. I don't want to, I mean, he does all of that work and does great. So that's fine, but if we can get water in there, then that's going to help him and us.
Okay. So I guess I would put that on next week's agenda as far as the request with the dollar amounts.
So I'll just give you this so that it goes into next week's, and I'll take that out of my wheelhouse, and then I'll take care of the air conditioning on my side.
Okay.
So Rocky, I think I texted her, and I think she's on, isn't she?
Yeah.
So I would defer the rest of the information to Rocky about the numbers and things like that on COVID.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Rocky.
Good morning.
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 Okay, so basically, as far as the numbers go, I'm sure you guys have seen the articles in the Times Citizen and on KCCI, but the state recently noticed a discrepancy with their disease surveillance system. So basically what's happening is that people are getting tested for COVID multiple times, and once they finally get that positive test, they're backdating that positive to the initial time that they were tested. So if I test positive today, but I've tested negative in the past, they're putting it to that first day that I was ever tested, period. So this was identified when we're trying to look at the downward trends for the county, the 14-day positivity rate for our school districts and our long-term care, to make sure that they're safe to, do their visits and open up everything. And we noticed that the numbers that I was reporting were different than what the state was reporting. So, we're obviously reporting the numbers as we're getting notification through the disease surveillance system, but it was being changed, back in March, April, May, et cetera. So they've noticed that that is an issue, and it sounds like they are working to fix it. But in the meantime, it's kind of hard to feel confident in opening things up when we don't actually know where we're at as far as our 14-day positivity rate goes.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, I could have a couple of comments, but I won't.
So they realize that it's an issue and they are working to fix it. They've been telling us for a couple of weeks that they are working on a new platform for local public health agencies, because the disease surveillance system that we currently use is just so outdated, and it's just not prepared for this type of pandemic to come through. So they're working on a new system called Domo that will hopefully give us more information and more accuracy, and we can go from there.
Okay.
I'll just say that I would rely on our local information prior to the state on probably a number of things. So I appreciate what you do out there, Rocky, because I have more faith in your numbers.
Yeah, so as far as the numbers go, we are at a total of 194 cumulative positive cases. and 134 of those are considered recovered. Like Thomas said, we did get our first death earlier this week, so that's been pretty unfortunate. But in talking with Rachel about the numbers, we're confused. Like the recovered, they automatically switched over to doing the 28-day recovery. So is that 28 days from their considered positive, or is it 28 days from their actual positive? So we're still working with the state to get that figured out, but that would leave us with 40 active cases. So
From there, I can go to public comments. Should be able to unmute yourself. Are there any public comments?
Lance, this is Donna.
Donna, go ahead.
I appreciate the fact that they mentioned the first death in Hardin County. I would like to point out that these people have names, they have families, they were people. Greg Reisinger was very well known and very well liked locally and beyond. And even though he was older, that makes him no less valuable. Sad he had to go this way, but I think as a person, he should be recognized. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Yes, this is Pauline Lloyd. I think I missed last week's meeting or whatever, but there was a comment made by Kurt, Groen was his last name. And he talked about if you wear a mask, you can catch Legionnaire disease. He needs to do some fact checking on that, because you cannot catch Legionnaire disease by wearing mask. The only way you can catch that is by bad water and air, by bad, dirty air conditioning, by the vents not being clean and the filters not being cleaned. So you have to do fact checking before you put that out there by saying by wearing mask, you can catch Legionnaire disease. That comment is totally untrue. So I just want to make that comment that I don't know where he got that from, if he picked that up from somebody, but we cannot spread things like that that are not true. So I just wanted to add that is an untrue comment.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Hearing no more public comments, I can go to other business.
Oh, it's Julie Dunn. I was just wondering how the outlook for money coming in, revenue, since we still have a $70,000 a year armed guard at the door, which so what's revenue look like in the next 6 months? Anybody have any idea? What kind of fiscal condition the county will be in?
I haven't talked to Jessica or Michelle as far as
revenue.
receipts, right?
I guess the best answer for that, Julie, is that it was budgeted. Revenue coming in is tax dollars coming in based on property tax. It was budgeted to be put for the next 6 months, for the next 9 months. That's where your money's coming in from tax dollars.
Is there so the contract for the armed guard is till when?
is levied into the sheriff's budget through June 30th of 2021.
Okay. I think that should probably be canceled then. If you want an armed guard there, then perhaps maybe it would be a better investment to actually hire a deputy to do that instead. I just think it's such a waste of money, but thanks.
That is a question that was addressed, and Dave chose this route versus hiring a deputy. I believe you were in that meeting when this was discussed.
Yes, but also the county then does not take responsibility for any mishaps that may occur there. So it feels like it's trying to get out from the responsibility of it. Yes, maybe Sheriff McDaniel didn't want to do that, but if that's part of the job, then, and apparently they can always use staff. There's just a better way to do it. We don't need to always privatize stuff and pass on responsibility. But thank
And the
you.
meeting, changing the words. He did it for financial reasons. You sat there for that reason when he presented it to us.
Are you
Not
saying
gonna,
you can't hire a deputy for $70,000? It's just whatever.
any other public comment?
Yes, this is Pauline again. I did some checking on that. I called Grundy, Franklin, Butler, Hamilton, Story, and of course I have not got through to Marshall due to all of this. But they all, this is what they said on the guards. All of them have no guards, check-in, jury, or people in that are called to testify, etc. If come in from jail, the deputy would escort a prisoner in handcuffs, shackles to the courtroom, and then they stay with the prisoners. None of those counties have guards. So why are we the only ones that have hired a guards? And a matter of fact, Grundy and Butler County said if they hired a guard, probably the people of the county would come in and probably throw the Board of Supervisors and a lot of people right out of the county office buildings and demand that they would be thrown out, because that is and I told them what kind of money we were paying them, and they said that is absolutely nonsense and ridiculous that we would be doing anything like this. And that $70,000 could be better used as in the road department where we need it. And a matter of fact, everybody that I talked to, especially from Butler and Franklin counties and Grundy, pretty much laughed at us for doing something like this. So
Hey, Pauline, this is
we need to
BJ.
stop and really think about this.
Okay, hey, Pauline, this is BJ, and I've been listening to your comments this morning, and you lectured Kurt Groen about false information, and so I want to correct information that you've been given and that you've just presented. So I don't know who you spoke to in those counties.
I
But
talked
can
to the
tell you-
county auditor.
Okay, let me finish though, Pauline. Marshall County has Ken Yeomans, retired deputy. Doug Bausman, reserve deputy, and retired Marshalltown captain and assistant police chief Jack McAllister working as their courthouse security. They are in a judicial district that Judge John Haney presides over. And so there are other counties that do this. There are other counties that have lost services because they don't have courthouse security. There are other counties in surrounding areas that don't have magistrate and court services that we have. We also polled our employees about the safety. We listened to our employees and their concerns about coming to work and being able to leave and go home to their friends and family and loved ones. So other counties are doing this. Other counties do care about their employees and their guests in their courthouse. And the fact that Judge John Haney has come into our meetings and explained why he is requesting this and why this is necessary is good enough for me to believe that we need to protect our employees.
Well, if this judge is so concerned about this, then why doesn't he hire his own bodyguard then if he's that scared about this? Story County doesn't even do this. Story County is larger than what we are. These counties that I
Pauline,
called, like,
hold on, Pauline.
well, just a minute.
Okay.
Let me explain. Butler County and even Hamilton County is bigger than we are, but Butler, Franklin, and Grundy, they're our size of counties. And if they're not doing it, why are we doing it?
Okay, I'll answer that, Pauline. Okay, I think Sheriff McDaniels is on the webinar or the today's meeting as well. But have you been to the Story County Courthouse?
No, that one I
Okay.
have not been to.
Hold on. Have you been to the Hamilton County Courthouse?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Have you been to the Butler County Courthouse?
Yes.
Okay. What do those three courthouses have in common? They all have their sheriff's and law enforcement offices right in the building. Right in the building. And if I'm incorrect here, Sheriff, please correct me, but those offices have law enforcement on site in the building. We don't have that, okay? So that is another reason why our employees voiced enough concern that they were worried about this. They're coming in and working 40-hour weeks. They deserve to go home to their families. If you want to argue what a human life is worth, that's something that you and I can talk about. And I thought we had a very cordial relationship. I just called you personally a couple weeks ago. If a human life isn't worth $70,000, we can argue about the strategies and tactics all day. But to me, a human life is worth more than that.
Well, I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying, none of them, like when we have court and we're bringing our people in, why can't the guards or the sheriff that's bringing them in, they're already right there. So
Pauline, I'm cutting the comments down. I'm cutting BJ off. I'm cutting you off.
Yep, thank you.
Move on to other business.
Lance, I do have other business. I want to take a minute and thank Thomas for all of his help. I know he and I ran into each other a lot over the last week, and he's offered more than a helping hand to our smaller communities to make sure they're getting the assistance that they need, whether it's, how to, get funding, how to hold an emergency meeting. But those are all great things. And it's been a pleasure working with Thomas in such unfortunate circumstances. The other thing I think Thomas needs a pat on the back is he's recognized where he can work on educating all the small communities in Hardin County going forward. So the processes don't seem like they're, impossible to accomplish. So I really commend him for his work this week and every week.
I agree. I do know he worked with a number of people that were on oxygen or that had medications that were going to be required when they didn't have electricity, but they needed those medication pumps or whatever. And I think everybody was pleased with the outcome on that. He put in a lot of overtime hours and still is. So I agree wholeheartedly.
Any other business? No more, I can ask for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Moving seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye.